Can somebody brief me what are the concepts that we have seen yesterday?
Function declaration, ma'am.
Hmm.
Function call, ma'am.
Okay. The syntax of function declaration, the usage of def keyword we saw, and function may have return type or may not have return type. So these are all the concepts that we have seen in yesterday's class. Let me actually execute certain programs and show you. What is the program that we have seen yesterday? We have seen like function mul, which is actually taking in two arguments. Can you see the online editor, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I have created a function here by using the def keyword. So everybody do concentrate and listen to this very carefully. So I have used the def keyword, and after that, so def is a keyword which indicates that what all I'm going to write is a function. There is a space in between this def and then the name of the function. What is the name of the function here? The name of the function is mul.
Mul.
Yes, yes. This mul is taking two arguments because I want to do multiplication between two numbers. So I'm giving x comma y. So just check on the syntax, everybody. So here I said x comma y. X comma y are the formal arguments. These formal arguments will be taking the values that you give, that you pass from the function call. So x and y here are the variables which are local to the function, and these are called as the formal arguments. After closing this parenthesis, the syntax is that I have to give a colon. So I'm giving a colon over here. Is this line clear to everyone in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can see that automatically there is an indentation formed, which means that this is the function block, the body of the function. So automatically the indentation came to you. If the indentation do not come automatically by your editor, you have to give indentation, and generally it is 4 spaces. After the indentation, you write your logic. How many ever statements you want, you can write inside your function. Because this function has got a specific meaning, this function is to do multiplication between these two numbers. So you can directly do the multiplication and put it in a variable and print it in this function itself, or else you can return this value to the calling function. So I'll show you all these two variants and all that. So I'm doing the multiplication. So I'm saying C is equal to, I said x into y. So this is an expression wherein the result of this expression is assigned to a variable here, which is C. I said x into y, and then the result of this expression is copied, is transferred, or is assigned to the variable C. And after that, I am saying print, then I'm saying the product of x and y, okay, or else the product is. Then I am saying what is the product? The product is C. So I'm just printing this. So the purpose of this multiplication function is over. So I said the multiplication function takes in two values, multiplies, and gives the result. So here the purpose is over. So as soon as you finish with the code inside your function, you come back to the indentation, to the def indentation. So come back to the indentation. Okay, right. So I came to the proper indentation of the main function. So herein, now since I have finished writing my function, I have to make a function call. How do I make a function call? It depends. I can simply make a call to the function, but see to it that there are arguments inside the function. So let us try to understand. If I simply call mul, what will be the result? So just take a look at the result. So the result is saying that mul missing two required positional arguments x and y. So the mul declaration, okay, so the mul function declaration says that there are two arguments here, but in the function call. So this line is function call. Line number 4 is the function call. Line number 1 is the function declaration. So line number 4 is the function call. Inside the function call, the parameters are not matching. So here there are two arguments. but I didn't give even one argument also. Let me say I'm giving only one argument. I just gave one argument and check on this. So it is saying missing one required positional argument y. So you have given x, but you didn't give y. So it is always important that I match the arguments in the function call and the function declaration. It is very, very important. Unless and until it is like taking your variable length arguments, that's a different concept. But there is a separate syntax also for that. There is a star asterisk preceding the argument name. So if you are just giving x comma y, it means that two individual arguments it requires. But here you are just giving one argument. So the number of arguments do not match in the function call and the function declaration. So it's throwing you an error. So it's important that I give two arguments. So I am giving two arguments. Even if I give three arguments, it will not take. It is saying I require only two, but you gave three. So it is very important that you give the same number of arguments, they match. So say I have given this two arguments, okay? Now what it will do? So it has given me the result, okay? 7 into 5 is 35. So the product is 35. So it has given me. This is a program wherein the function is not returning anything to the called function. This function is just making a function call. The main function is just making a function call. And the result is also printed inside the function itself. So this is an example of a function without a written value. This function is not returning any written value over here. Okay, fine. So is this example clear to my class? A function without a written value. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Now say this particular, I want the product, but say that with 35, I want to do something in the main function. In this particular case, in this example, like when you don't give the written value, you don't give the written value where the result is not used in the main function. I just want to know what is happening. So I just want what the answer is. And I don't want to catch it. I just wanted to do some operation. I did it. I got the result. That's it. But I want to do something else with this 35. The result that I get from the function, I'm using it in some other expression, say. In that case, you will ask the function to return that resultant. So what you have to do is you have to use a keyword which is called as return. So let us take a look at that particular point. Every function will have implicit return statement as the last instruction in the function body. As the last instruction in the function body, I will also tell you if it is in the middle, what happens. So it is a good programming habit that I put this return statement as the last statement in the function body. If you are not putting this return also, automatically it is added. That is what is meant by implicit. You will not be able to see, but this will be added in your bytecode. What is the purpose of the return statement? The purpose of the return statement is that it returns a value to the calling function, and also to end the function and go back to the caller. The control will get transferred. So I already told you in the previous classes, in the introduction of function, that one function can call another function. So what happens when a call is made? When a function call is made, what happens? The control gets transferred to the function declaration and to the body of the function, and it executes each and every instruction in the function, and finally it returns to the next statement after the function call in the calling function. So this is what is the line of or flow of execution that we have seen in the previous class. So the return statement will ensure that, okay, this is the end of the function. All the instructions in the function are over. Now the control can transfer from the called function to the calling function. So that implicit understanding will be made by looking at the return statement. So the purpose is like to return a value, to return the result, as well as to transfer the control, because the control have jumped from the main program to the function, right? And you have to bring the control back to the calling function. So that's what is done over here with the return statement. This implicit return will not return anything to the caller, so it is set to be none. if you are simply giving a written, okay, or if you are not giving also, automatically your interpreter, your environment will add a written to the last statement of the function. If there is simply a written, it will just return and it is none. But if you want to return a result, you can do it by saying return followed by the expression. This expression is optional. You can pass an expression, or else you can also pass the result to the calling function. So the syntax of the return statement is, return is a keyword, you all know that, and every letter in this return is in lowercase. Every letter inside this return is in lowercase and then followed by the expression. So I have put this expression in the square brackets, meaning that it is optional. Is it clear to everyone in the class?
Yes.
I came back to the compiler. So I'll show you this program with execution. So here in this particular mul, I'm using a return. So I simply said return C. So what will happen here? The function is having certain arguments, and these arguments are taken into the function. It is performing some operation, and then it is returning the result. I am not assigning any variable over here to this function call. Let us see whether I'll get an error over here, because I have written something and this function is not catching the return over here. So let us see what will happen. See, I am not getting any error, but if it is some other programming languages, if a function is returning anything, it is very important for us to catch the function, meaning that there should be an assignment of this result to a variable. If this function is returning an integer, then I need to have an integer variable declare, and I have to say, if this function is returning an integer, say the C is an integer, then I have to say int d or int result, then I have to say result is equal to mul 5,7. So that statement is mandatory in other programming languages. Here, even though the function call is getting a resultant, even if I don't assign it to a variable, it is not an error here. Is this point clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can I say mul 5,7 is equal to result? Is the statement correct?
Result equal to
No,
mul.
ma'am. Result equal to mul 5,7.
Yes. This is against the rules of your assignment operator. Assignment operator will take, it is having certain rules, right? So the assignment operator will take something from the right side, put it on the left side. So let me show you the execution of this. Okay. So it is saying that can't assign to function call. You cannot write a statement like this. Always your function call should be on the right side of the assignment operator. You cannot put it on the left side of the assignment operator. Is this clear? So this is a mistake. So do not make this mistake in your program. So I have to say result is equal to result or X or Y, any identifier I can put, wherein I'm saying result is equal to. Okay, now what will happen when I say result is equal to mul 5,7? Let me execute and show it to you. So I didn't get anything in the output. Why I didn't get anything in the output?
We are not
Because I
printing our
didn't, yeah, because I didn't print result. Because I didn't print result. What happened here in mul? This 5 is assigned to X, this 7 is assigned to Y, and 5 into 7 operation have been performed inside your mul function, and the resultant is assigned to C variable, and I'm returning 35. So this mul is returning 35. So result is equal to 35. But why I didn't get the output is because I didn't print the result. Anything that you want to see in your output console, you have to put it in the print statement. Since I didn't put it in the print statement, I'm not getting the result. So let me do it. So I said print. The result is, okay, what is a variable? It's a result itself. So I said the result is, and I said result. I just have, I've printed the result over here. So you can see very clearly in the output that it is saying the result is, and which is 35. So this is an example of a Python program which takes certain arguments which is for a purpose, for a multiplication, for performing multiplication between two variables, and return the result to the calling function. So that's what this program is all about. And what we understood, that the arguments should match. The arguments in the calling function and the called function, okay, the arguments should match. Let me show you another program wherein I'm putting simply a return over here. What will happen? So I'm just printing this result inside this mul function. So the result is C. Okay, but we'll see. Okay, now what happened? What is the kind of function? This is a function which is not returning any value. I'm just making a function call. Now, where did I put return? Return will actually bring the control back to the calling function, right? So I have put return before the print statement. There are three statements inside the mul function. The first statement is C is equal to 2 into Y. So you can see line number 2, 3, 4, all these three statements, three lines are the body of the function. Okay, C is equal to X into Y is also the part of mul function. Return is also part of mul function, and print also is part of mul function. Everything should be in the proper indentation, in the proper line, in the same line. Remember that when you're coding. So I said C is equal to X into Y, and I said return. There are still more statements inside your mul, but what I said return. According to the concept that we have just read now, what is a concept? It means that whenever a return is given, what happens? The control goes back to the calling function. So this statement will never execute for me. Let me show you this. So I should be getting a result that the result is 35, right? Did I get that in the output? Did I get that answer in the output?
No, ma'am.
No. Why I didn't get the answer? Why I didn't get the answer is because what happened here is, as soon as the control sees a return, you can write it explicitly. Being programmers, return is a keyword, you can use it. It is used to return to the calling function. So I have written the return statement, but I have written it in the middle of the program. So what happened when return is encountered, the program control goes back to the calling function. So the control will come back over here after this mul. Okay. Now what happened? The result is will never execute. This print statement will never execute. If you're writing such kind of code in Java, then it will throw you a lot of errors. It will say like code unreachable. There should not be a line inside your program which is unreachable. Here there is no chance that this line will execute ever in the program. This line will never execute at all because I have written before this particular print statement, even if it is not error. So this is what you have to learn with the programming languages. If I write such kind of code inside the Java, it will actually scold me. The compiler will scold me. It will tell me that you cannot write such kind of lines because the code is never reachable. And when you are writing code, it is very, very important that you keep in mind that each and every line is having a significance in your code. You should not simply write a code which will not have a meaning. Such kind of program that I have written is not having a meaning. It is not making any sense, but it is not throwing me an error. So you should be observing this kind of loopholes. So this written statement, if I write it before also, it is not giving me an error, but this line will never execute at all. So what is the purpose of writing such kind of line which will never be executed? So being programmers, you should keep in mind all these points. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now let us see how to do another program wherein I can make a function call inside the print statement. Say this function is written in C for me. So I said return C, a function with the written value. And I can make a function call from within the print statement also. Because this is returning something, it will print the result on the screen. So I just made a function call. I'm saying mul 5 comma 7. I'm doing it from the print statement. So what will happen? The control will go to the mul function, do the operation, and result is C. And the C will be taken into print, and the print it will print the C's value. So let me show you the output. So can you see 35 in the output, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can also use this function call. You can also put this function call inside the print statement. Say this is not returning anything. Okay, say this is not returning anything. I just have performed the operation, that's it. But I didn't write a statement which will return anything. Okay, now what will happen? So let me show you. So now can everybody see none on the screen in the output? Can you see none in the output?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Can you see none? Yes. Since this particular mul, I didn't write any return here at the as the last statement in the function, but automatically it happens. Okay, so automatically it happens. Return is, that's what I told you. Implicit return is added. Even if you write return here or you don't write return here, it is not a mistake. If you are not writing return, it will write for you. It will do it for you. Internally, that's what will happen over here. So it will just add a return over here. So since this return is not giving anywhere, this is like void only. So you have in C programming void, right? What is void? If you are putting void in front of the function, what does it mean? What is void? Meaning that the function is not returning anything, right? If the function is returning anything, that based on the type of the result, you will say int function 1, or if it is returning float value, you will say float function 1. If it is returning a character, you will say char function 1. If you're saying void, if you say void function 1, what does it mean? If you're saying void function 1, it means that the function is not returning anything. Yes or no? Recollect
Yes.
your C basics.
Yes.
Okay, so void means that the function is not returning anything. Here we don't have that explicit kind of declaring the return type, but automatically if it is written and you are not specifying any expression, it means that it is none. So this mul function got a none. That's why in the print statement the return is nothing. So that's why in the output I can see none over here. Is this program clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the programs that I already have explained you, that saying that function call is equal to X and all this is an error. And so putting return before some statements is also an error. You cannot do that. Okay, so it's not an error, but there is no meaning. So you always have to, being programmers, you always have to keep that in mind. Okay, right. Return a value. So wherein I'm not returning anything, I'm just printing the result in the mul itself. Fine. So let me show you another program wherein a function name. This is a bit different from what you have learned in your C programming, because here you can actually assign a variable to a variable. Function that can be called with a variable name. You can assign the function name to a variable and you can make the function call with that variable. Fine. So how do I do it? So I have a function here which is mul. So which is actually giving me the multiplication of two numbers. So I just said return x into y. And here I am reading in the two values a and b. And what I am doing here is, this is what is important for you. So this is what is this concept. So I am assigning the function name to a variable. I have taken a variable which is mul underscore op, which means multiplication operation or whatever. So it can be z or I or k or anything it can be. So I just assigned the function name to the variable. And hereafter I can call the function with the variable name. So I can simply say mul underscore op, which will be alias for the mul. Is it clear? An additional feature that you can see in Python, wherein like with a variable name. So it is, you needn't put this parenthesis and all that. Just look into the syntax. So I just said mul underscore op is equal to mul. That's it. I have just assigned it to that. Back to our program. So I can also write a print statement wherein I can directly do the multiplication. So I said x into y directly. Okay, I can do that. Or else I can say the result of the product is, okay, and then I can do the multiplication like this. Okay, so whatever I want, I can do it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm assigning a variable. So I said a is equal to mul. Simply I said a is equal to mul. I simply said a is equal to mul. And now what I can do, I can call it with a. Okay, I can say, simply I can say a. Okay, it requires 2 arguments. Okay, I can simply, I can say 5,6. Okay, can you see this on the screen, girls? What I did, I have changed the name of, I have given a to mul. I said a 5,6. Is it clear to everyone in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. I have explained you already this, that the parameters should match. Here I got an error because this add 5 is, this is a function call, and I just passed one argument, and here it requires 2 arguments. So that's why I got an error. So this is a program wherein you can actually pass expressions into the functions, not only values directly, you can also pass expressions. So this is an expression for I. I am passing expression in the function call. So what is the expression? 5 plus 3 into 4. This expression is evaluated based on the priority of the operator. So among plus and star, star is of higher priority. So what happens? 3 into 4 happens, which is 12. So 12 plus 5 is 17. So I got 17 over here. 17 is passed to this particular I. And when I said inside the function, I said print I. So 17 is printed on the screen. I can also pass expressions in the function call. Using loops inside the function. I have written a function which is fun, taking one argument n. N is nothing but the range here. Inside the fun, I have written a for loop for I in range 0, n. N is the input that is given by the user. The user will be mentioning how many times this loop need to be iterated. After reading n from the user, I am making a call to the function by passing this n as an argument. The control now jumps to the function. Say in case the user is giving 5 as input. So n is 5 now. The loop will iterate till 5, 0 to 5, meaning 5 minus 1, 4, 0 to 4, which are 5 iterations. For I in range, so it will keep on iterating for 5 times and print Sudha 5 times on the screen. You can also use loops inside the functions. You can also use, this is another program wherein we are having 2 functions, 2 different functions. This is very important for you to understand. So I have 2 different functions and one function is making a call to the other function. This is not a nested function. Python have a concept wherein you can have a function within another function. But here I'm having 2 different individual functions. I hope this line is very clear to my class. So I'm having is the first function I have in the program, and function 2 is the second function I'm having in the program. This function 1 is making use of this function 2. But this is not the nested functions concept. I will tell you the nested concept, the nested functions concept. But this is number of functions in a program, and one function can make a call to the other function. So this is totally valid. calling a function from another function is totally valid. Let me show you the execution of this program. So this is the example we have seen wherein we can pass expression into the function. So I'm passing 4 plus 5 into 2 into the function. So this expression will be evaluated and that result will be passed to I. So you can see the answer is 14. First 5 into 2 is done, which is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So 14 is passed to I. And when I say print I, 14 is printed on the screen. Right. So I can also have loop inside my function. So I'm taking in the value of n. So I'm asking the user to enter n. So which is an integer. So then I'm saying enter n. So I'm asking user to enter n. So after the user is entering n, so what I'm doing, I'm passing this n into the function. So inside the function, so here I'm having n, and then I'm writing a for loop. So for I in range, so I'm turning the loop from 0 to n, put a colon, and then I have a print statement. Right. Okay, so I hope this program is clear, which I already explained it to you. So I'm executing this program. So it is prompting me to enter n over here. So say I'm entering 10. Okay, so what it is doing, it is printing all the I values over here from 0. Okay, 0 to 9. Or else you can also put whatever you want over here. So say I'm putting Python. Okay, so you can see Python printed on the screen 10 times for you, or I'm putting 5. Okay, so I gave 5. So you can see Python printed 5 times on the screen. So you can use loops inside your functions. Is this program clear to my class? Now let us write 2 different functions. I am saying I'm writing 2 different functions. The first one is fun1. So inside the fun1, I'm just having a variable. Inside the function 1, I just have a variable. You can do however you want. I'm just doing it in this way. So what I'm doing, I'm making a function call over here. So I have another function which is fun2, and I'm passing this x as an argument into this fun2. Okay, right. And this fun2 is returning something to me. So I am saying y is equal to fun2x, because this fun2 is returning some result to me, and I want to catch the result wherein I have caught it in y. So I said y is equal to fun2, and I have passed x over here. So after receiving y, I am printing y. That's it, right? So this is the end of my first function. So this is the end of my first function. So I'm writing another function over here. So which is fun2. So fun2 is taking an argument, right? So it is taking in an argument. So I'm saying it is taking j or whatever. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking this j, doing some operations with this particular j, and this fun2 is returning something. So I'm saying return j into, so I'm saying 2. So the purpose of this fun2 is to just take an argument, do some into double it, and then give it back to the function 1. Right. So I just need to make a call to the function 1. That's it. Okay. I just made a call to the function 1. So let us see the execution. So what is the answer over here? So let me show you the process of, let me show you the process of flow of execution. So first fun1 will be called. As soon as fun1 is called, the control goes to fun1. Inside fun1, I have assigned x to 10. And then I made a fun2 call, passing 10 as an argument over here. So as soon as I have passed 10 as an argument into x, now the control goes to the function 2, where j will take 10, and 10 into 2 is 20, and 20 is returned to the calling function. Here the calling function is fun1. So 20 is assigned to y, and then I am printing y, which is 20, and I can see that result on the screen over here. The main function is calling function 1 and function 1 is making a call to function 2. And in reverse, from function 2, it returns to function 1 and function 1 will return to the main function. Is this flow of execution clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Once again, repeat,
So,
ma'am.
yes. Listen to me carefully, ma. Here I'm having two functions, Nana. This is the first function and this is the second function. Is it inside dependent functions? Say I'm having two for loops, Amma. Say for example, I'm having two for loops. I have one for loop over here and I have another for loop over here. Are these two for loops independent for loops or depending on each other?
Independent for loops.
Independent for
For
loop.
loops, unless and until I write the for loop inside this one. Here I am saying two for loops I have. These two for loops are called as nested for loops because this for loop is inside this for loop. But here what is the case? If I just take off this, now these two for loops are independent for loops, right? Yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Likewise, this particular fun1 is one function and this fun2 is another function. Both are independent functions. They can use anything. I can also use this fun1 inside my fun2 also. I can use fun1 inside my fun2 also. And I can, some other function fun3 can use this fun1 and fun2 in itself because they are independent functions. When I write a nested functions, I'll write it in a different way. I'll say def of some function and then I'll say there will be an indentation and then I'll say some g of. Did you understand? This syntax that I've given over here is meant by nested functions. Did I give any nested 2 is making use fun1 is making use of fun2. In the similar way, as you proceed inside your coding, maybe there is a situation that fun2 needs the functionality of fun1. And maybe you're writing some other function which is function 3, which is making use of these two functions in itself. Individual functions can be used in such a manner. So here I'm having two independent functions. This is one function 1 and this is function 2. And I'm making a call to this function 2 from function 1. In the similar way, as you proceed further, eventually you can actually, maybe your function 2 may need function 1 also. Okay, right. So that's what we are trying to understand over here, that your program can have, this program is having two functions. In the similar way, you can have n number of functions. There is no restriction. That's what I told you in the introduction of functions, wherein the need of functions, I explained to you that there is a program A wherein there are some multiple tasks to be done. So those tasks are divided into each and every individual function. That's what I'm telling you. When you go to an ATM, or you can take the example of your mobile phone. In your mobile phone, you can see that there is in the basic mobile phone, you can see that altogether it is a mobile phone application. But inside the mobile phone, you can see that there is a method which will actually, there is an interface which will only show you the messages. There is another interface which will show you the function, the calls. You can make a call, receive a calls pertaining to only calls. So this is what is called as the task, dividing the task. The overall functionality of the phone will be having all these tasks. Like you cannot imagine a phone without making calls, right? Or without having, without receiving messages and sending messages. Those are part of the program itself. But what you are doing, they are individual tasks. In the similar way, in your program, like your other programming languages, like your C or Java or anything, because you know C, I'm referring to C, you can have n number. There is no restriction that you can have only 2 functions or 3 functions. You can write as many as your user defined functions, as well as you can use as many as built-in functions as you want. But the task is like you have to finish your application. To finish your application, to develop something, you can make use of anything. So here I have written these two functions. These are called as user defined functions. Since I have written these functions, The programmer have written these functions. So these two functions are independent functions in this particular program. Now let us see the flow of execution. The flow of execution is that first it will start with this particular call to function 1 or fun1. So as soon as fun1 call is made, now the control jumps to line number 1. From line numbers, the control has come to line 1. In line 1, so this is all is the declaration and this is the body of the function. So I said x is equal to 10. So this is a local variable to the fun. I'll discuss the local and global variables later. But this x I have declared inside the fun. And then I said y is equal to fun2x. Now what I did over here, I just made a call to fun2. And why I have assigned the result to y is because this function is returning something to me. So to get it, I am saying y is equal to fun2x. If you simply say fun2x, the function 2 will execute. It will not give you an error, but you will not be able to get the resultant. I already have shown you this in the previous executions. So since fun2 is returning something, I need to catch it in a variable y. So I said y is equal to fun2x. After this, as soon as it is saying y is equal to fun2x, do y know the answer? So do your assignment operator know the answer? It don't know the answer unless and until it evaluates this fun2 of x. Unless and until, what is the assignment operator? So you have got this right hand side and left hand side. Whatever is there on your right hand side will be assigned to the left hand side variable. So to assign this value to y, first you need to evaluate this fun2. So what happens? The control now goes to the fun2. Wherein this x is nothing but 10. 10 is passed to j. So now j has acquired the value of 10. So it is doing some operation on j. So it's saying j into 2, where 10 into 2 is 20. So 20 is returned to the function. Now what is the calling function here? The calling function is fun1 and the called function is fun2. So the control will go back to the fun1 only. It will not go to the main function. So now the control will come over here and assign this 20 to y. So print y. So it will print 20 on the screen. After this, as I said, there is an implicit return statement added after this. What will happen? Now the control will go back to the calling function. Now is it clear? Now is the program clear to everyone?
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, we are not having any kind of function declarations, ma'am.
Function, like in your C, no need. You don't need to do that. Everything is done over here in a single. Everything should be done together over here. In C programming, you generally do the definition in some place, and later on you will be writing your function. And there is an order also. There is no order also there. Okay, you can write your functions after your main method also, but here it is not like that. So the programming syntax is different here. Here you need to give the function declaration and later on only you have to make a function call. Else it will throw you an error. I showed you yesterday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Do you want me to break